Now in my demo farm here, you can see I've landed on the dashboard. Now it's important to understand the integration between Figured and Xero. Xero is your home of actuals, and Figured can pull that information from a month you specify, combining the actuals with production-specific information and forecast information that you enter inside of Figured. So in this example, in my global date selector up the top here, you can choose the year, whether you want a mixture of those Xero actuals or a mixture of actuals and forecast, and up until what point are we pulling those actuals from Xero to. Some common planning views are actuals to last month and actuals to this month. This can ensure you're utilizing the real-time and up-to-date Xero data. If you want to view a full years of forecast, you can also change actuals to none. This is telling Figured to not pull in any actual information from Xero for that season. And when you first set up your Figured file, you have to choose the season date, which in this farm is running from July till June. And you can commonly mix that in with the same financial year-end date in Xero. To explain this a little bit further visually, I'm going to jump forward to the planning grid. In the planning grid, I'm also in the 2022 year, and you can see across 12 months in the same view with actuals to last month, I'm pulling through the actuals up until May, indicated by all the green months here, and then I've got 1 month left of forecast for my season year. We'll go into this more later, but it's a good visual indicator to show that mixture of Xero data versus Figured forecast data. Jumping back to the dashboard, I can now better understand that what I'm viewing here is 11 months of actual Xero data and 1 month of Figured forecast data. So we can now take a look at these charts on my dashboard. So you can see in this first one, I've got a line graph versus my actuals plus forecast closing cash versus my annual plan closing cash position. So that's the blue line here. And that's the budget that I've saved through taking a snapshot. But we'll go into more detail about this later. I've also got a waterfall graph of the variance by category that I can drill down into those different variances. And further down, I've also got a farm business structure, which you can add a bit more detail, painting a picture of your farm. Down the bottom here, you'll notice this Xero icon. So there will be an automatic sync prompted between Figured and Xero every day or so. But if you do make new changes inside Xero and you want that to flow down automatically into Figured, say if you add a new account or if you add a new transaction, you can click into this icon, start the sync, and this will run over a few minutes and you'll see the different stages of that sync pulling through. So it's important to note that Figured is on the rolling plan. So what that means in terms of closing cash is that last month's actual closing cash will equal this month's opening. And similarly with livestock, last year's closing quantities equals this year's opening. So you can build out a plan for as long or as short as you like. Now we'll start on the left looking first under the operations tab. So we've got the trackers here. So the trackers are the home of production inside Figured. And we'll jump into one of these tabs. So this is the trackers page. And you can see you've got a range of different trackers on this farm here. We've got a milk tracker, different livestock trackers, and cropping trackers. These are the most common ones, but you can also create new trackers here, and Figured supports a range of different farming operations. We'll jump into our beef livestock tracker just to have a look. So you can see I'm given the stock reconciliation here, and due to my global date settings, I'm looking at a full years of actuals. And in a detailed view, I've got this message of an unreconciled transaction for R2 heifers. So that means that something needs to be imported from Xero. So I can click on this green tick and import that transaction directly in. We do have a large variety of help center articles and videos helping you get set up with the trackers. So you can just click into the help center article and just simply search for trackers. You'll see all the different help center articles relating to those. And some of them will also have YouTube videos further down the bottom. So if I wanted to set up a livestock tracker, I could click on this and it's got all the detail and that for me there. Moving on to the properties tab, looking at this one here, it's important to enter the total area of your farm if you know it, as this metric flows down into your production reporting to provide useful dollar per hectare metrics. You can also add further properties, like this farm here has 2 properties and different levels of fields if you want to. The scenarios tool, we won't go into any level of detail, but this is used to build out a long-term plan on an annualized basis, anywhere from 1 to 10 years into the future. So you can use the data you've already entered inside Figured as a starting point and extrapolate that out into the future, or you could just start from scratch. But it's good to see how you're performing if you want to build out a business as usual status quo scenario, say for the next 5 years. Or you could also add in different what if situations, like buying the neighbour's property, or stress testing different negative downturns of economic situations. So just building out a picture of how your farm's looking into the future. We'll move on to the planning tab here. So first off here is the planning grid. So this is where you can forecast for any of your non-production expenses and other income. Jumping into this page here, due to my date settings, I'm looking at full years of actuals, and that's indicated by the green heading up the top here. So your Agri chart of accounts will flow in here, and any of these blue links indicates their actual transactions inside of Xero. So you can click through these and that will take you straight through to the Xero transactions for that month. Now I'll move into my forecast here. So I'm now in 2023 looking at a full years of forecasts, and that's indicated by the orange header up the top here. Now it's important to note that all the different trackers are grayed out up the top here, and you cannot edit these directly in the planning grid. These flow down through the trackers page that we just looked at, and anything that needs to be edited will be done inside the trackers. You can add edits to any of these cells here, as you can see, just by entering in numbers, and that will recalculate on the cash view here that I'm looking in. You can also plan on a profit view if you would like to. It's important to note as well that the actuals act as an overlay. They do not delete any of the forecast as the actual months occur. You can always move the actuals to date further back and uncover what the forecasts were under those months. This is an important concept too when we look at the reporting, as you can get the variance looking at the actuals versus forecast in your reports. When you've built out a forecast and want to create a budget, you can take what we call a snapshot. A snapshot is a photo of your farm at a point in time. It can include a full year's forecast or a mixture of actuals and forecast. We nominate one snapshot per year to be our main budget, which is called the annual plan. If you remember from the start of the video, the dashboard widgets were comparing against that annual plan. Snapshots live in your reports. Once you've taken one, you can report back on it with a range of different options. For example, taking a snapshot now and then comparing against what actually happened with the actual Xero data at the end of the season. You can take as many snapshots as you like, and as you cannot edit a snapshot, we recommend on any material changes or reforecasts that you take a new one to track those changes in your reports. You can even add descriptions so you can remind yourself why you needed to reforecast and take a new snapshot. For example, if I click take snapshot here, you can see I can give it a name, the actuals to date, and any description. At the end of the season, you can use these snapshots as insights to fuel more informed planning decisions for the following season. You also have a tools function up here, so you can quickly build out a plan through importing last year's actuals, or you could even export through a CSV and then enter all the information in CSV and re-upload it if you prefer to work in Excel. So you can find further really helpful information about how to work in the planning grid through the Help Center here. So if I click in and then just search for planning grid, you can see I've got a range of different articles that can show me all the tools I need to be confident in the planning grid. If you scroll down to the bottom of this article, there's even a YouTube playlist that goes into further detail. Now moving on to the reporting. So I'll jump into my reports here. Now Figure has a range of different reports. You've got financial reports, production reports, tracker reports, and your year-end trading statements. Whenever you save a report and add annotations, they will be pulled up over here. So these are previously saved ones. If I jump into a cash flow report, I'm looking at the 2022 year in this example with actuals to last month. So as we are in June, as I'm recording this, that is pulling actuals through till May 22. So you can see we've got 11 months of actuals for this year and then 1 month of forecast. As mentioned earlier, your snapshots live in your reports. So selecting the showing here, I can also select my snapshots through the different years. If I wanted to run a report on any of those snapshots, I could. And I can also choose them under additional options as a comparison period for this report. So I could choose those snapshots to compare back on. And you can share this report out. You can download it as a PDF or a CSV, or you can save the report and add annotations, or you can copy to clipboard and paste that into a Xero report pack. So I have saved this report, and that's pulled me to this page here. And you can come in here, click on any cells, add annotations, and you can share that out directly from Figured just pop in someone's email address and they can open that up, see the annotations, and they don't have to have access to your Figured file. Now quickly looking at the accounting tab. If you're not an accountant but you're interested in this section, I recommend working with your advisor on it. So the quick overview, you've got the financial position. So this offers a market value balance sheet underpinned by Xero accounts and data. You have the ability to revalue those accounts to account for deviation or any additional off-balance sheet assets and liabilities. Your valuations, these are your end-of-year valuations that will be pulling through to your reports. The account journals tool, this is typically used for journaling cash-coded milk income back a month at the end of the season. You've got your chart of accounts, so this is all the accounts pulling through from Xero. You've got your default bank accounts that have been nominated on the Figured file setup. And you've also got account configuration in here, which means you can customize certain things about your chart of accounts like the categorization, payment period, and detail and planning. Finally, you've got the settings. So if I jump into settings here, a few different things to point out. So under the People's tab, this is where you will invite different users into the file and you'll be able to nominate their level of permissions access. You've got farm details here, so you can check out the financial year end in Xero and different Xero settings. And you've also got the billing, so if you wanted to upgrade your subscription or change the bill payer, that will be done through the billing tab. So that's all for today. If you've got any questions, as always, reach out through the green chat bubble and have a look at the different Help Center articles that can help you better understand getting used to Figured.